Alright, so legendary banner for Shez. This time I actually did not need to summon anything more than less than half. 14 summons in gets me two legendary Sigurds, one with plus res minus attack. The other one gets plus attack minus speed, so now he is a plus 3 legendary unit. And also on the 14th or 15th summon, I got a plus res minus HP Shez. So in order to stretch out the time, I did add a couple more summons, including two ticket summons, one of which happened to be a plus HP minus attack Brave Ike. The other one is a plus attack minus speed Veloria. And also, in addition, I summoned some on the double special banner, finally getting Flame Festival Lyn. Sadly, with only plus res minus defense, but you can't really say that there's anything to choose on that one. So, on to the questions, if I had any. So, instead of the normal idea where I do just questions randomly referring to aspects of the game that I honestly wonder about. Instead, I kind of want to do something a little bit more productive, more creative, and that's by creating some kind of a custom banner. I've done one before as a Persona 5 collab with Feh, but I wanted to try Genshin at this point, and that's because I feel like Genshin, a good amount of the characters are actually very good matches for Feh, or at least a collab with Feh. So one of the easiest ones happens to be Fates. Fates has both the aspect of being a Japanese society as well as more of a European society. So you have Mondstadt and Inazuma being very easy includes with this one. But I also want to make a couple of choices from the Shadow Dragon Mystery of the Emblem series, as a lot of their characters have had very few alts in general. Like aside from Marth and Sita and Tiki as well, we've had very few cases where they have more than two or three alts. So hopefully this will be something a little bit more interesting than just the questions that I have. So we'll start with the unit that I want to have the custom banner focus on, who is what better way to start out a series of collabs with the one, the Oni, Arataki Ito? So I think out of all the trailers, I actually liked Arataki Ito's the most, only because he seems very. The confidence that he offers is just beautiful. The other thing too is that technically he's also wielding, in addition to wielding that claymore, he's also wielding a club, which is technically an axe in Fates. So in terms of basic stats, he's going to start with a 21 HP, 11 attack, 8 speed, 10 defense, and 5 resist, with growths in each stat of 70%, 75, 45, another 75, and 40% respectively. So this is going by current generation 305% total in growths. The other thing too is that I want to make any character who comes from Genshin both a ascended and legendary hero. So in this case, he will be ascended Earth, referring to his own typing. So his basic weapon is going to be the Red Horn Cleaver, a preferred axe weapon that offers both +3 to its HP and defense. And then at the start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to foe's HP, grants defense plus X, where X is 50% of the difference between unit's HP and foe HP. So this is not going to be max HP. This is more going to be a case of the current HP. Although if it's max, they might end up removing some points from HP. And then there's also bonus effects based on whatever that difference is. So if it's greater than or equal to 0, he performs a guaranteed follow-up, making up for his splotchy speed of 27. If it's greater than or equal to 4, he deals an additional damage equal to 15% of his own defense. And then if it's 10 or more and he initiates the combat, he neutralizes any effects that will prevent his own follow-up attacks, so self portion of null follow-up, and reduces damage from foe's first attack by 25%. So once again, we have the guaranteed follow-up attack for a slow unit, damage buff, a the self no follow-up, as well as a slight bonus for the reduction. We've seen way too many reductions. And then I also gave him the Oni Flame Raising. So this is going to be a cooldown count 4 with a base of Blazing Light. Unfortunately, the closest thing that I can think of to Earth. It's going to be a AoE special, so it's going to be before combat that this unit initiates. Foes in an area near target take damage equal to 1.25 times the unit's defense minus foe's defense or res. So the reason I'm doing the both cases instead of just saying defense is because I'd be very interested in making Ito a magic unit as well. And to be fair, they do this for every skill. It's both Luna, Black Luna, even though we have no Zelgius that can use magic. But another thing is, when this special activates, unit gets, after combat, grants unit +7 defense and armored guard for 1 turn. Where the area comes out to more of a pyramid, where it's the foe, and then every single the 2 next diagonal spaces. So in the case of having him here, his foes here, they go in a V shape with the centerpiece getting hit as well. And then Armored Guard is if unit's defense is greater than foe's defense +5, reduces damage from foe's attacks during combat and from area of effect specials, excluding the rocker area of effect specials, by a percentage equal to the difference between stats times 3 with a max of 30. So this is another one of those cases where you're offering a brand new type of damage reduction. In this case, though, it's doing more based on the defensive status. So this is a defensive case of spurn, velocity. And then I don't have any real skills in terms of designing actual skill emblems, but he's going to get Crimson Territory. And this is actually going to be based off of Earth Boost 3. So all the boost skills in general are very, very open to ideas, but at the start of combat, he's going to gain all effects based on the difference between units' HP and foes' HP. And once again, this is going to be current, not max. If it's 1 or greater, +5 to defense. If 4 or greater, and foe uses staff or tome, unit can counterattack regardless of foe's range. So essentially, he's getting the part of the distant wars ability. And then if it's 7 or more, and foe continues using that tome, staff, or breath as an additional bonus, he adds 30% of his own defense to damage calculation. So he's going to be very slow, but hit very hard. And then the other thing, too, is that he's going to be dealing way more damage to kill any unit in general. So Ito's also going to have a bunch of different Banes and Boons, with his Super Boon being in HP and defense, but he's also going to have attack and res as his Super Banes. Speed's going to be left alone. He also has the Chill Attack Defense 3 and Attack Smoke 4 skills as a just bonus to what he can do. I personally want to see him as an axe unit as opposed to a sword unit because swords are very, very overabundant, especially sword infantry units. But also I want to see him as them try to do like 2 separate things. So on to the next unit. Second unit, and the unit that also falls under the 5-star bonus, the 5-star definite rate, is going to be the Horned Hunter Keaton. So I chose Keaton because a lot of his storylines and support focus on him being a very good hunter. Again, I have not played Fates enough. I've read enough of the conversations to know that that's what I think he can offer for the banner as being the hunter of the Arataki gang in Asker. So he starts out with a little bit of a similar yet different total in terms of his stats. He has 20 HP with a 55% growth, 12 attack with an 80% growth, 8 speed with a 55, 11 defense with 80, and then 4 res with a 35%. So he is going to end up with a very low stat set. He's going to come with a basic. His weapon is going to be the Claret Stained Fang. I did end up looking this one up, and Claret is it's a slang for blood or a deep reddish, deep purplish red color. He's going to be a beast, colorless beast infantry. Might is going to be 12. Now that may seem a little bit low for a PRF, but there is a reason behind that. At the start of combat, if unit has a bonus or has attack greater than or equal to foe's attack, grants attack defense plus X during combat. X equals the difference between unit's attack and foe's attack. And then if unit has both of those, so the similar idea with catch skills or ideal skills, he attacks twice. And then he also comes with the current generation mid-size beast bonus. So transformation, if he transforms, he pluses 2. He deals 7 additional damage whenever special triggers. And then he also has the tempo skill, which works very well with his Blood Blaze exclusive special basing off of Bonfire. And this is going to be the same as Bonfire. Cooldown count is 3. It just continues with Bonfire, but it also adds Soul Effect. So it's on the same level as Aether, but Aether is a 5 that can be given to everyone. Blood Blaze is not going to be given to everyone. Then we have Earth Boost 4. At the start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to foe's HP plus 3, grants defense plus 8 during combat and reduces damage from foe's attack by 20% of unit's defense. So this is any attack that foes do, it'll be reduced by 20% of whatever his defense is. So while it may not necessarily be a lot in terms of value, if you have that 50 defense, that's a 10 damage debuff just off the bat. And then I'm also giving him the attack defense oath 4 skill. So we all know this one. But I changed whatever it is. If adjacent enemy battles, grants defense plus 5 to ally during combat. So instead of giving him the normal attack speed buff during combat, I instead decided to make him more of a support ability. As his B skill, he also has special Spiral 4, making it so that he deals way more damage than he needs to in terms of just special damage on its own. In terms of his IVs, he actually has buffs in both attack and defense, with Banes in speed and resistance. So no matter what, he's not going to be competing anytime soon with magic units, which is normal for, I think, Keaton in general. So now that the Fates characters are out of the way, which is one of the big reasons I thought, I'm going to go with the next characters from Mystery of the Emblem. And the 4-star demote is going to be Legion, the Masked Reveler. So Legion is one of those characters that has had no alts since his initial inception into the game as a GHB unit. At this point, I know that the 5.5-year mark has already passed for him, but I'm not sure if he's past 6. But he is going to be a red dagger infantry. And as you notice from his kit, it doesn't look like necessarily a 4-star demote unit. But the reason that I'm okay with this is because I don't think they're going to be doing these kind of banners in general. But we have his special weapon, the Tomahawk Sika. So the Sika is another one of those throwing knives, so it goes along well with him being a axe unit. But he's a red dagger. And then if unit is not adjacent to an ally, grants bonus to unit's attack equal to total penalties on foe during combat. So we've seen this with Broadleaf Fan on Summer Lilina. But the difference also comes from if the total of the bonuses on unit is at 12 points or greater, unit deals damage equal to 30% of unit speed. So he's going to get an additional damage buff if the number of bonuses that he would receive is higher. And he also has dagger 7. So automatically giving him a second round automatically turns his ability on. In terms of his other skills, he has lethality. He has attack speed solo 3 as a 5 for the tier 3 as a 5-star, and special spiral 3 is his 4-star skill. So once again, I believe that now that we have multiple units options to get special spiral 4, we need a reason to get special spiral 3. And this is a perfect example of this. In terms of his base stats, he has 20 HP with a 65% growth and a Super Bane. Attack is 11 with 70%. Speed is also 11 with a 75%, but being a Super Bane. Defense is 6 with 50%, being also a Super Bane. And then resistance is 4 with a 40%, but being a Super Boon. So I did try and choose some of the less useful stats to be the boons for him, whereas the more valuable ones you really don't want to get off of him. But the other thing too is that this would be another open option to get lethality. As for why I chose Legion, I think that he would be an interesting addition to the Asker Arataki gang. I believe that adding him in, it wouldn't necessarily be the worst possible idea, as the gang has a tendency to get put in jail, but at least with Legion, he might have some fun with it. The next one is a little bit different because I created the rearmed hero before I realized that I wanted to create a GHB unit. So these next two are technically interchangeable, but I, of course, wanted to give another no alt unit an actual slot, but the NPC from his character arc is perfectly fine too. If you believe that the unit from the actual character story deserves the rearm slot, in that case, just swap the two kits basically. You'd be or swap the two characters and their weapons, the specials, but you would essentially keep whatever the stats come with. So for the starting unit as the rearmed, we have rearmed Luke. And now that we've seen both Ophelia as well as the more recent rearmed Tana, we have the option not necessarily that we need to make them all dead or fallen. So Reforged Knight Reforged Luke as a second version of a Lance Cavalry rearmed unit. So he has as basics the 19 HP with a 60% growth, 9 attack with a 70, 8 speed with 70, 9 defense with 60, and then 7 resistance with 35, having a super boon in both HP and speed, with resistance being his only Super Bane. His weapon is going to be the Imbued Ice Glaive. So it's going to be another arcane weapon, but instead of being a Silver Lance base, it's going to be a Killer Lance base. And of course, we're going to get Accelerate Special Trigger. And at the start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants attack defense +5 to unit and during combat and boost damage equal to 20% of unit's defense. But the biggest bonus is, of course, if unit is attacked by a tome or staff unit, apply unit's defense for the calculation. So instead of being a very weak resistance unit, especially wielding solid ground 4, instead his resist stat becomes essentially non-existent. Because instead what it's basically going to become is 42 defense and 42 resistance against magic units. Now note that this means that he won't be gaining that bonus against dragon units. He also comes with Blue Flame. Again, I really did think that it would be a good idea to create something new, but Blue Flame is a decent enough special for any unit, and it's easy enough to inherit. We also have Flow Guard and Speed Defense Menace. So he's going to be he does not have a guaranteed follow-up, which is what a lot of current weapons have been given. Now, if you were to replace Luke with the next unit, you'd simply be keeping all the Solid Ground 4 and the Speed Defense Menace, but instead you'd swap out the Flow Guard and the Blue Flame for the other skills. And instead of being in a Imbued Lance, it will be Imbued Dagger. So the next unit shall be the Lost Oni Takuya. So this is the character from the Ito's character story as the Blue Oni of his story of the Crimson Oni and the Blue Oni. So what we have is a possible option of a new weapon, the Azur Fang, or in the case of a rearmed version of him, it would be the imbued Ozerfang. This is actually supposed to be a Might 16 because it is a PRF as opposed to a plus, which I originally thought would be a good idea. But it's going to be the same thing as the Tomahawk Sika, where it's going to be the grants if unit is not adjacent to an ally, grants bonus 2 units attack equal to total penalties on foe during combat, and if the total of the bonuses on unit is greater than or equal to 12, its damage uh, equal to 30% of unit's defense, and he has a base of 43 with his skills. He also comes with a new special as Blue Moon. So this is going to combine both Moonbow effect as the base, and it's also going to buff his damage rate by 25% of his own defense. So this does mean that he is going to be doing more damage through that special. As for his GHB skills, he will come with Quick Riposte 3 as his 4-star tier 3, which has been a long time waiting for a actual good source. And then Solid Ground 3 is going to be his 5-star, as we have plenty of ways, a good amount of reason to give this skill an opening. It's either that or figure out a way to add in that opening for maybe another unit. Like figure out how to get Solid Ground from Fortress Defense. For his stats, he has 18 HP with a 60% growth and a Super Bane. Attack is going to be 9 base with a 70% growth rate as a Super Boon. Speed is 8 with 60% as a Super Bane. 10 defense with 65% as a Super Boon. And res as a 5 with 40% left alone. So of course he is going to be a very good basic unit, especially with that on base just from all the skills, having 60 attack, going up to 64 with his Super Boon. So once again, if it's worth changing out, you would replace that Ozerfang with the Ice Glaive that Luke has, as well as giving him the switching out the solid grounds, and the Quick Riposte would switch out for the Flow Guard, and he would also gain the Speed Defense Menace. The Blue Moon would also be swapped out for Blue Flame. So thank you very much for watching this video. I do have a couple other Genshin and Feh banner ready in my mind. So if you have any ideas of the units that you want to see alongside a Genshin character, let me know in the comments, and I will see you all in the next video. So thank you and have a nice night.